Euaoi.
There are many nicknames that are just shortened versions of their full name. Some nicknames are shortened to a length of 4 letters, some are 3 letters, some even take it further and are only 2 letters long, with Al being a noticeable one since it can be a nickname for a lot of different names. But what we're going to be talking about today are the one-letter nicknames, with the question being, which letters make for the best one-letter nicknames? With there being 26 letters to adopt as a single-letter nickname, some letters are just going to work better than others, which is why I ranked the 26 letters on a tier list based on how well they would pass as a single-letter nickname, where the tiers are categorized by nicknames that work for either men, women, or are unisex, as well as nicknames that are kind of a stretch or don't work at all. And we're going to be going in alphabetical order, starting with A.
Hey! 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 Hey!
As for A, there really isn't a specific A name that this would be a fitting nickname for. Sure, there are some names like Ace and Amy, but they're short enough to the point where making them single-letter nicknames kind of feels like you're overdoing it. Not to mention the word A is also an article, which adds some level of confusion to it. Such as in the sentence, A just took a dump, which kind of sounds weird. It almost sounds like someone is trying to do a New York accent with something like, A just took a dump, which is why I'm placing it in the doesn't work tier.
You gotta think B, Barry.
One thing B has going for it is that the 3-letter variant with the same pronunciation, B, can be a nickname for Beatrice or its variants. So you can pretty much do what any gamer on a budget would do and just remove the EA, which basically means that B passes as a single-letter nickname, but obviously works better as a female nickname.
C is for cookie.
While C may seem strange at first, but when it comes to names like Caesar or Celia, C would work very well as a single-letter nickname, which is why I'm putting it in the works as a unisex nickname tier.
She wants the D!
Now moving on to D, where in a similar manner to B, the 3-letter variant with the same pronunciation, D, can be a nickname for a lot of feminine D names, or just even be a name on its own. Just remove the double E and it could easily pass, which is why it also works as a female nickname. Initially, I thought E wouldn't work because of that one Markiplier meme, but there are some names like Eli or Eva that do well enough to adopt the E nickname. Not to mention that B, C, and D already work as single-letter nicknames and sound the same, so sure, why not? It works as a unisex nickname.
I'm going to give you a super F!
F. This clearly doesn't work. Why? Take a look at the name of the author for The Great Gatsby. What did Scott Fitzgerald ever do to him?
Golly gee willikers.
While names like Jean, Geo, and Gina are great contenders for earning the nickname of G, the letter G has also been used as an abbreviation for gangster, such as in the saying, "Where are all the G's at?" Not to mention some naughty terms like G-spot or G-strap, which is why I'm kind of putting it in the kind of a stretch tier. Aside from this letter being an internet meme, I can't think of a scenario where H would work on its own. It would have to be propped up by an honorific like Mr. and Mrs. H or Dr. H. Because of that, it's going in the doesn't work tier.
The I.
I just sounds really awkward as a single-letter nickname, especially when trying to refer to that nickname in the third person. For example, "Okay, Mom, I'm going to the movies with John and I." "But you already said you were going to the movies, son!" It's even weirder because if that is your nickname, you're basically referring to yourself in the third person whenever you say, "I will do so-and-so." If it wasn't already obvious, it doesn't work. J, on the other hand, works very well as a single-letter nickname, especially since there's a name that's literally just, well, J. Just remove the 2 extra letters and the name is still the same. But since J is a boy's name, it works better as a male nickname.
Every kiss begins with K.
As for the letter K, K with the AY at the end is already a nickname for names like Catherine or Kathleen. So much like J, remove the 2 extra letters and the name's still the same, which puts it in the works as a female nickname tier.
Take this L, hold this L.
The letter L. There's L, which is a nickname for some names like Elizabeth and Isabel, but reducing it to just a single L looks wrong. Especially since L is the shortened version for loss or loser, which makes it sound like a pretty self-loathing nickname. Because of that, it doesn't work. Now moving on to M, where I really can't think of a scenario where this would work as a nickname. The best scenario I could think of is if your name is something like Emmett or Emily, but even then, the two-letter variant, EM, would work better. So it's going in the kind of a stretch tier.
N is for no survivor.
We now have the letter N, where this does not work at all. Mainly because if someone said, I'm meeting up with Mike and N, it sounds like you're saying and twice. That and N has a much darker meaning behind it. We're already at O. Oh my. But in all seriousness, I could see O working as a nickname for names like Owen or Olivia. The only iffy thing about it is sentences like hello O, hey O, or yo O sound a little weird. But regardless, I think it makes for a pretty good unisex nickname.
And the only thing I can do is to drink my own pee.
Up next is P. The main problem I have is people will interpret P as P. You know, Tinkle, or P. Diddy, which is also not a very good look either. Sure, Sweet P is used as a term of endearment, but just straight up P feels wrong. It doesn't work.
Q is tonight's big loser.
I'm sure when most people think of Q as a name, they think of either Brian Quinn from Impractical Jokers or that anonymous user from 4chan. But seeing how Q has historically been a nickname for men, I'm going to put it in the works as a male nickname tier. R. Are you serious? This obviously doesn't work. Unless you want all your friends and acquaintances to sound like pirates when referring to you.
How about S for Save Our Skins?
When it comes to S, there are a lot of names that start with S, so it doesn't do a good job at narrowing it down. That and it sounds like you're saying ass, which is just wrong. S would work better when paired up with another letter, like SB, but on its own, S is the opposite of S tier in the single letter nickname department.
Welcome once again to a spot of tea.
We all know at least one person with the one letter nickname of T. Why? Because it just works really well as a unisex nickname, especially for the names Teresa and Theodore. The next letter is U, and much like I, it's really awkward when referring to that name in the third person. For example, bye mom, I'm going to meet up with Chris and you at the mall. But I'm not going to the mall with you, son! I know, you're not you. The only difference between this and I is it doesn't have the strangeness of referring to yourself in the third person while saying I. I don't care if your name is Ulysses, just don't do it.
When your V-neck looks more like a U-neck.
V, spelled with two E's at the end, is a common nickname for a lot of girls' names starting with V, like Victoria, Veronica, Vanessa, or Vivian. So removing the two E's and just having it be a single V works really well as a female nickname.
Let's go. That's a W.
Now on to W, the only letter of the alphabet that has more than one syllable. Therefore makes it pointless as a single letter nickname. Also doesn't help that the nickname has pretty much taken near exclusive ownership by a former US president.
Go home and die.
You know, on X, we just rebuilt the entire messaging stack.
Originally, this letter would have worked as a male nickname, but due to recent events, it just doesn't work anymore. And if it wasn't already obvious, the recent events I'm referring to are Elon Musk buying Twitter and rebranding it as X. All I'm just going to say is, if your name is either Xavier or Xander and went by X before Elon bought Twitter, do you still go by X, or did you change it because you were sick of constantly being affiliated with the app?
Why? Why? Why?
Y doesn't work as a single letter nickname. Why not Y? Well, that's why. If your name is Yvette or Yvonne, just go by Eve. As for the name Wyatt, it seems less awkward to have it be written as Y or Y rather than just Y, if that makes any sense. We finally made it to the end, Z, where Z with two E's is a common nickname for names like Zachary, Ezekiel, or Zoe, which also means it makes for a great unisex nickname. You could even argue it works better as a female nickname, but I think it's pretty fitting as a unisex nickname. And that's the full tier list. Sure, the video topic might have been pointless, and these nicknames usually don't have a lot of mileage, since most websites you need at least 2 letters to fill out a name. But I thought this was somewhat interesting and pointless knowledge that's worth sharing. Anyways, that's all I have for today, and I'll see you next time.